Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined as always by Sam Schneider of Primetime Sports Talk. And we're going to do the special bye-week show where we're going to do the similar format. We're going to talk about the things that we didn't like and the things we did like about the first half of the season, and then we'll cover some of that in the upcoming rest of the season. So I guess I'll start. And the number one thing that really bothers me that I don't like about the first half of the season is the play of our defensive line. This was supposed to be a strength. Signing Reeder, having Atkins, adding Daniels. This was supposed to be a strength of this team. And to be quite honest, I think this was one of the worst performing units in our defense. So to me, looking back at the first half of our season, I am most disappointed with the play of our defensive line.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And, it's hard to completely excuse it. You sound like a football fan that's just excusing things away when you say that Geno was injured and that Mike Williams missed time and that Christian Covington was the guy plugging up the middle, even though he has played very well.
He's played admirably as a fill-in, but
he definitely has. And there are diehard fans out there that will argue that part of this is that we, took snaps away from Carlos Dunlap and before we traded him. I don't really buy that. I think it's a unit. It's a young unit. You've got Reeder and Geno in the middle. They're the veterans. On the edge and on the rush side, you've got young guys coming in. So you can't expect it to be immediately amazing. I'm very encouraged with where it's going to go, but I can't argue with you
right
at all with your assessment. But
I just felt coming into the season.
But I will point to the injury, not as a cop out, but I will point to the injuries in the middle as being an issue.
Well, it's just this was supposed to be. We had young linebackers. We knew we had a good secondary. This was supposed to be the strong point. We were going to just nobody was going to run up the middle on us, and it just didn't happen. And one of our guys got injured, but the ends still missed tackles. They didn't maintain the corners when they were rushing. It was just this unit as a whole underachieved as far as I'm concerned with the amount of money we spent and the talent we had there. And to me, looking back at the first half of the season, it was my biggest disappointment. So what was your biggest disappointment?
I don't disagree with that because especially after I think we might be telling a different story if Sam Hubbard was still in there. And I'm not saying that one player can change, our opinions, but it means a lot. And I'm still a firm believer in Hubbard and Lawson on either end. I'm still a believer of Geno and either Mike Daniels or Reeder, who's done for the season, in the middle. It was formulated correctly, but it's hard to watch. And the casual fan that doesn't look into these things, all they see is, well, we can't stop the run. And I'm like, well, there's issues there. There's reasons, and everybody's dealing with injury. But when you're a losing team and when you're a losing team, it's much harder to differentiate.
So what was your biggest disappointment?
Am I going to scratch the broken record on the offensive line?
No. Not at all. I
Uh,
had it on my list. It wasn't my number one disappointment because we came into the season knowing we didn't address it. Believing trying to drink the Kool-Aid that Turner could fix Hart and all this stuff. But I think most fans knew going in it was going to be our weakness.
I had two big disappointments. One was the offensive line,
Right.
but it almost didn't even qualify because we all knew
Right.
there was going to be a problem. So I'm a little disappointed in the secondary, but that's with, we didn't get Trey Waynes.
Right.
We never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was very important to us. And Mackenzie Alexander is such a great player, and we lost him for several weeks. So I've been disappointed in the secondary, and you know how I feel about WJ3.
Right.
It's not good. And
But you felt that before. So that was so.
Yeah. And you know how I feel about Darius Phillips. I think Darius Phillips could be very good. He just needs to turn around once in a while.
Right.
So the secondary has disappointed me a lot, especially considering we're in games where we're usually trailing, and teams don't need to throw against us, but they will because we're so susceptible at this point.
Right.
As long as you can draw Bates off of his coverage and throw the other way, if I'm a quarterback, I'm like, I feel completely comfortable throwing in the other direction. I've looked Bates off. He's over there.
Right.
Then I'll take man-to-man on Phillips or WJ3 or anybody that's out there.
Right.
So that was one of my big ones. It's the offensive line. I would drop injuries in there, but everybody has them.
Right. No. I don't like to use injuries as an excuse unless you're, the 49ers, where you just kind of look in their entire defensive line and our entire secondary, and they still manage to win games. So, that's but everybody has injuries. My other big one was it's a branch of the play calling. I've complained about the play calling a lot. I don't want to sound like a broken record also, but I'm going to harp on looking back the 2-minute defense, the play calling on defense, especially when we had leads, was just particularly putrid. That's just, and we've had, on our coaching show, we talked about the need for getting rid of Anarumo at the end of the year and getting in a veteran DC. But that, to me, was the second thing that I had was the two, you can call it the 2-minute defense, play calling, and playing when we were ahead, because we would come out in the third quarter and play soft zone. And I
agree. I think we did a good job of not. I'm with you. It's been an issue all season, particularly on defense. I've actually been more disappointed with the defensive play calling than the offensive play calling. But the last game against the Titans, I thought the defensive play calling was better. But I mean, what's better from ground zero?
Right.
I was willing to say, okay, you're getting there, but you're still not a playoff team play calling defense. I don't even.
No. And you know what? We got a lot of help from the Titans. If we didn't get that help, we wouldn't have won that game. So the play calling wasn't that much better to where it overcame, had we not gotten the assistance from penalties and turnovers that we got from Tennessee, the play calling, we wouldn't be having the same attitude about it, is what I'm saying.
I agree. And it was more that they just it performed better. The defensive play calling performed better in the last game, enough so that I was like, okay, then we're in the in the right direction. We didn't go soft zone so much. We didn't go prevent so much. We still did,
No,
but you know, if I can see a transition in a season where I did not expect to go to the playoffs, I'm okay with that.
right. Okay, well, let's turn this around and let's get some more positive, upbeat stuff talking. And let's talk about the things, the one thing that what made you the happiest about the first half of the season. I can go first again, and this is going to be a Buck record, but it was Joe Burrow. It was Joe Burrow, and it was this whole draft class. I think we did most of the guys we drafted have really, have really panned out. The ones that have made immediate impacts on our team. And but Joe Burrow has been as advertised. He's everything and more, not just, but in terms of leadership, in terms of bringing that moxie to our team. I mean, I cannot say enough about what, even under duress the whole time, all the sacks, all the hurries, and he never wavers. You have this confidence in him when you see him. And to me, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's the reason why Bengal fans are so excited. It's not about this year. It's just about the future. So I would have Joe Burrow top of my list.
It's what that was the top of my list as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it cannot be. He has come as advertised. He has done everything that we have asked him to do. If there is a Bengal fan out there saying that they don't like what Burrow has done thus far, they're delusional,
Right.
completely delusional. And I mean, if you don't like that comment, sorry.
No.
But he's been as advertised, if not more,
Right.
When you see, you looked up the mic'd up video, which I'll put in the comments of this video. If you watch him on mic'd up and you see him, this 24-year-old running this team, talking to his offensive line, talking to his receivers on the sideline. What more could you really ask for from a complete rookie? I know he's older for a rookie, but it doesn't matter. He's still a rookie in the NFL, and he's owning it, and he's at the top of my list too, and he's making things happen that really shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that in Cincinnati in a terribly long time.
Yeah, too long. So the he has you look at what it's stuff behind the scenes. You look at the way Mike Daniels spoke about him and literally said this guy is a better leader than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this is a person firsthand who would be able to see how Aaron Rodgers was handling things in Green Bay. So it's absolutely, just the comments you hear from his fellow players tell you that that this is the real deal.
Yeah, and all of his teammates. I mean, Mixon has been great. This week, Tyler Boyd dropped a couple bombs talking about how amazing Burrow is, and and Burrow. I don't think I've watched a couple pressers from him. He's praising Zach Taylor,
Right.
and it could be baloney. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do,
Right.
but it really seemed genuine. It really seemed. He said, we've got a great guy in Zach Taylor that's really helping me to come along. I'm not quoting.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing, but that kind of thing makes me excited both for Joe and for Zach. But like you said, I get way more excited about all of his teammates on offense and on defense.
Right.
Defensive players saying, this is our guy. This is
guy.
Joe Burrow is the guy.
Well, and you could talk about Mixon and Boyd, and they don't have anything outside of Cincinnati as a point of reference. So that's why I like the Mike Daniels reference in that he is coming from the Packers and he's had this outside experience with Aaron Rodgers, and he's telling you how impressed he is with Burrow. So to me, that says a lot.
Agreed.
My other part was, and it's just a continuation of the first one. It's it's the rest of our draft class that's hit the starting lineup. It's T. Higgins. Oh my gosh, what a gift. I mean, I can, Aaron Rodgers can say whatever he wants. I know he's looking at T. Higgins saying that guy should be in Packer uniform. He should be a cheesehead because he was sitting there for them when they drafted Love, went the quarterback route. So I know he's not saying that, but you got to know he's thinking that. It was amazing. We got Higgins, and then Logan Wilson has been as advertised, so we seem to have hit really well on most of our draft picks. And that's the other positive thing I would say.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. I think this draft was great. I still think that last year's draft is panning out. Everybody was so quick to bury Drew Sample, and he's clearly become a very important part of this team, both in blocking and receiving. But this year, with Zach having, enough time prior to the draft with his assistant coaches and Duke Tobin and, the Blackburns and Mike, they made some really great picks. And you've got Logan, who's playing outstanding. Akeem Davis-Gaither is playing well, but he has a ways to go. And you've got a guy who I think, frankly, is just tremendous in Marcus Bailey, who hasn't even been active yet.
Right.
And we got him for a steal as well. So this is all very encouraging. I don't know who's watching that thinks all of a sudden we were going to go 11-5 this year.
No.
I didn't. I wanted to win.
I want to see progress, not perfection.
Yeah, I wanted to win 5 games, maybe 6. Well, I don't know. And
I had said optimistically we would have been 9-7, but when I made that prediction, we thought we were going to have Reeder, Daniels, and Atkins all together.
Of course.
And we've never had the 3 of them. So, I've altered but I still thought we would just miss the playoffs. I wasn't that kind of that was like my kind of best case scenario. Because I knew we were going to be facing the Steelers,
but of course,
the Ravens.
It's just encouraging that we have, good draft picks, well-picked draft picks. Like we got them at good times.
Right.
That if they're not in the lineup right now, Logan Wilson starts every Sunday. But, the guys that aren't in the lineup yet, like Marcus, like I said, who is my next jersey, by the way.
Okay.
Those guys that we can develop and we know they're solid draft picks. And we did really, really good in this draft. If we didn't have the best draft, we were in the top 5 for sure.
Right.
So that's all very, very encouraging. And we'll need those people to step up in the second half of the season.
Right. All right. And then the last thing I have here, and this just came out in the last couple of weeks, as I've been critical of the coaching staff. I've been critical of the play calling, but when they had it's kind of like they were forced to do this, but when we had the least amount of bodies going into the Tennessee game, they did their best job coaching up the offensive line. So now we're in this bye week where we're going to be reevaluating everybody, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the next 8 games. But I'm optimistic that maybe we can find a combination that's serviceable. I've said all along, we're not going to have a top 10 offensive line. Heck, I just settle for an average offensive line is what we need. And hopefully maybe by the end of the season, we'll have, 5 bodies that can just go out there and be the 18th or the 17th offensive line, not looking to crack the top 10, but just be adequate.
Yeah, well,
it shows you how low my expectations are. That makes me happy.
Well, I don't know. Is it 17th and 18th? Sounds pretty good to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a year with especially with the COVID stuff. Everybody's lost offensive linemen because they've been most susceptible. Even the Chiefs lost people. They didn't miss a step. But everybody is looking for offensive linemen. So the fact that we brought in Quentin Spain and
Penny.
and brought in Penny,
Penny, yeah.
In the Dunlap trade, I think is a good thing. What I want to see, and I think you saw me talking to a guy on Twitter about this. His argument was, that Trey Hopkins should stay at center. And my argument is, if you have a rookie quarterback, put a veteran in front of him if you're not trying to make the playoffs. Just keep him safe. So I look at it as Jonah on the left. Anybody that's selling on Jonah is insane.
No. He's a rookie. He's, like I said,
Put Jonah at left tackle. Put Spain at left guard, which is great because he'll make up for some of the rookie misses that Jonah might have.
Right.
And he'll be able to double team the hardcore right side rushers from the opposing team. In my opinion, and I love Trey Hopkins. I love him. In my opinion, put BJ Finney at center because he's a veteran and the center of our line has been an issue. I'm not saying Trey Hopkins has been an issue, but I'm saying put the veteran in there. Let's protect the future of this franchise. And then I think, I'm not sure, but I think after the bye week, we're going to get Suafilo back at right guard. And then, Bobby Hart, I think, is going to miss several more weeks. I got a source that told me this looks like a 4 or 5 week injury.
Right.
And I know there's not a lot of Bengals fans spilling tears over that. But at the same time, you also don't want to just shove somebody into a role they've never been in.
Right.
So it's not like it's exciting. But so I figure Suafilo at right guard. If not Hart, then, you've got Michael Johnson, who you took out for Spain. You've got Fred Johnson, who's been in the rotation. There's abundance of people that you can try out at right guard. And the good thing, or right tackle, excuse me. And the good thing about that is, at least at right tackle, the quarterback sees it coming.
Right.
The most important thing is to cover up the left side.
Right. No. It's the right side, and that was part of my play calling. We kept trying to ask the right side to do things they weren't capable of doing. So
right.
But we'll hopefully we'll see the play calling that we saw where we started to scheme around it and make things happen. So tossing the ball out to Mixon wide, doing the things that helped him out, that took some pressure off. All right. Well,
so Mark, let me ask you this.
Sure.
We've got 8 games left?
We have 8 games left. I'm looking at the schedule.
What do you think our record is over the last 8 games?
I have us down for either, and I'm being optimistic here, but if we can keep the momentum going that we did in Tennessee, because we went into this bye week on a really nice high. I think we're 5-3, or a 5-2, 5-3, or 4-4 type of thing. I don't see us winning either Pittsburgh game. Baltimore, because they've dumped a couple games already, is going to be needing that Week 17 game. That's going to be an important game for them. And then I figure we lose one of the other games. I'm just figuring Miami is not a pushover game. Washington is not a pushover game. I mean, those are games that are very winnable, but I'm figuring we're going to go 4-4, 5-3 at best. So, that's giving us a 7-8-1 record or a 6-9-1 record is what that's giving us.
I also have 5-3. I think we differ on a game or two. I've got us taking a loss against Miami.
Yeah.
I know it's broken record. Here's of the week. I didn't think I would ever say this.
Right.
Miami has a really good team.
No, they do. No,
Um,
and Brian Flores has shown he knows how to use his personnel.
Brian Flores is a great football mind. I have so much respect for him.
Yeah.
So I've got Miami as a loss, but as opposed to your picks, I think we steal one from Pittsburgh. I don't know which one it is. It's maybe it's wishful thinking by a Cincinnati fan, but I have 5-3 also. I've got us. I actually wrote down that we win the next 3 games. I have us beating Pittsburgh, Washington, and the Giants,
Right.
losing back-to-back to Miami and Pittsburgh.
Oh no, Dallas is after Miami.
Oh, yeah, I wrote Dallas. I forgot. That was the one I missed. But I have them as a win also.
Right.
So that would be 4 straight wins. I'm sounding like a homer.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
I am not.
Yeah.
I am not a homer. I'm trying to be realistic. And then after that, I've got losses to a loss to Pittsburgh after the Cowboys win, a win against the Texans.
I have the win on the Texans. Yeah.
Definitely a loss against the Ravens.
Yeah.
But I think it's enough. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the games are.
No.
I think it's enough just to say that our team is maturing, the locker room is together, and as much as we criticize the coaching staff, and I do think there will be changes made.
I hope there are.
Yeah, I think there will be, but I don't think Zach is going anywhere.
Well,
And
I've lightened up on my push to get rid of Taylor only because it does appear the things that Joe Burrow has said does appear that he likes Zach. So if
well,
he
that's
likes
and that's important.
very important. That's very important. Believe me. Don't think that Matt LaFleur is sitting on Green Bay. Don't think that Aaron Rodgers didn't put his seal of approval on that hire. Or that happened,
Right.
And the reason why Mike McCarthy's not there is because of the conflicts between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. So,
Yeah,
I put a lot of stock on that, but we've got to bring in a DC, a veteran DC like Del Rio or something, and replace Anarumo.
Yeah, I think it's premature for people to be you screaming for Anarumo's head like right this second. I mean, we're not going anywhere this season. So
I understand that, but we don't have a veteran coach on his staff. That bothers me a lot. That there one or two veteran coaches that have had the job before.
Yeah, all I'm saying is for all the fans out there, let it go.
Oh yeah, I don't want to see anything until after.
They're not going to fire Anarumo during season.
No. I wasn't looking to make any coaching changes during the season.
Right.
I wasn't looking to do any of that. That all can be done at the end of the season. And you and I talked about it. We don't even know how things play out. We were talking before we started filming about the San Diego loss. We may find that we're drafting 11th instead of 15th because of that San Diego loss, and we may get a key player next year. So in the end, the San Diego, the bad call on the offensive PI, which now that I've looked back at it a couple times and seen the video, that was so ticky-tack, it was ridiculous. But I just think
wait, which one?
The first one where we didn't win the game against the Chargers.
Oh, right.
That to me was, now are looking back and I'm saying they've let way more stuff go. But week 1, they take a game from us. But that may turn out to be a blessing. We just don't know. We won't know how everything plays out. So, but yeah.
Well,
and
I just think that at this point in the season, I mean, 2-5-1 sounds way better than, what were we, 0-11 last year or something
like that. We only won 2 on the whole year.
I can't even remember. I've completely blocked it out of my memory.
Hey, we lost the key game against Miami last year. That was the game. We almost came back and tied, and I was like, no, we want Burrow because Burrow would be in Miami right now if we were here's the NFL world that we live in. If we were in the NFC East right now, I think we would be 1 game or a half game back of the Eagles for first place. Not only would we be there,
And I'm not saying that matters. I'm not saying it matters.
No, but
I'm just saying, hey, keep it in perspective.
Yeah. Not only would we be there, we would be one of the favorites to win the division because of the play of Joe Burrow. People would say, "Oh my gosh, I really think he comes on. This has to be one of the two teams," because you look at the Eagles as the favorite there and you say, well, they've got the most viable quarterback of the group. You've got, Washington, you like the defense a little more, but you got Kyle Allen leading it. And you just, so you have to, but we would be, if the Bengals were in that division, we would be one of those two favorites. They would be saying, well, yeah, one of these two teams.
All of the big media outlets would be saying what I usually say, which is, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Bengals are probably the best bet here. I will piggyback one time on that. This week the odds changed a little bit in Vegas, and Hebert in San Diego. I can never get rid of that.
You know what? They're always going to be the San Diego Chargers to me too. Too many games at Qualcomm.
And we live in Los Angeles.
It doesn't matter though. We live in Los Angeles games. So,
but Justin Herbert is now the odds-on favorite for Rookie of the Year, and looking at his stats, he should be. But I don't think there's no doubt in my mind that Joe Burrow is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Right.
He's had a lot of tough games. We've got a lot of decent games that look good for him coming up, whether we win or lose. And Herbert's really fun to watch. If you guys haven't watched him, watch him.
A lot of fun.
He's amazing, and he has a line similar to ours. And two of these rookies are really exciting to watch. So it's going to go down to the wire, but I believe in our guy.
Yeah. The only reason I think the odds have changed in Herbert's favor is he didn't come into camp as the starter. Burrow has had the first team snaps the whole time. He's known all along he was the starter. Herbert was just kind of thrown in and literally found out minutes before a game that he was starting when, Tyrod Taylor got the punctured lung and everything. So I think that's why he's getting some of the benefit. But I'll tell you, I way underestimated Herbert. I thought he was going to be more of a Mariota type, and he's really excelled. The Chargers definitely, these two teams, the Chargers and the Bengals, they've got their quarterbacks for the next 10 years. There's no question. From what I've seen, both fan bases should be very excited. They've got their guy. So,
I do for Primetime Sports Talk, I do coverage for the Chargers as well. And there were so many fans on boards and Twitter and Reddit and whatever else that did not want Herbert. And I was like, no, this is the guy you want. They wanted to take Isaiah Simmons and then take what's the quarterback from the Eagles?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, they wanted to take Simmons and then get Hurts later. And I was like, no, you got to get this guy. And Herbert, I think he's got 15 touchdowns and 5 picks.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive considering his line. And he's fun to watch. But I still think in the end, our guy's going to come out on top.
Both guys have the benefit of good players at the skill positions. We've got
absolutely.
You look at Mike Williams he's an odd and tape type, and you've got Allen and you've got Hunter Henry, and then you turn around and you look at Boyd and Higgins and so our both guys have got weapons around him, and that's helped him out a lot. So
and never mind the fact that Herbert's doing this without Eckler in the backfield,
right?
And Burrow has had to deal with 2 weeks without having Mixon.
Right.
Those are just more weapons that weren't available. They showed out, man. In the last several weeks.
Rising tide raises all boats. So when you bring that in, that's what you've got happening on both squads. So
100%.
All right. Well, with that, is there anything else you wanted to add? I think we were pretty good on this.
I think we covered everything. It's kind of fun for a bye week to
Yeah.
no script. Let's just chit chat. It's fun.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, everybody, is Monday night we are going to find out what the game plan is in New England, because I heard it was either Moving the Chains or one of the serious NFL shows, but they were talking about, New England could still get the #1 overall pick. They have 2 games against the Jets. So if they lost both
It's
of those
not
games,
happening.
I know, I'm just saying, if they were tanking for Lawrence, this would be the Monday we're going to see it. Because if they lose this week if they beat the Jets this week, which they should beat the Jets, they have way more talent. If they lose this week, then the Jets lose again this week, then they're in the driver's seat for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but you got to talk about the Giants and the Jaguars too. So I mean,
yeah, but the
it's
Jets,
a race. It's
much like we were last year. The Jets are in the driver's seat. As long as that goose egg goes, Giants have a win. You can go down the rest of the teams. They're the ones with the goose egg. So it's there on the clock. It's for theirs to lose.
Agreed.
So.
I mean, we'll see how it falls down. It's gonna be a couple weeks before we know.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, with that, we will put up our regular preview videos Thursday night. We'll record it, halftime of the Thursday night game. We'll have that up, and then we'll do our recap again after the Steeler game. It is Steeler week. So, with that, I want to say, hoo day, everybody. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe, and we will see you guys Thursday night.
Steeler week.
Steeler week. Hoo day.
Hoo day.